back in, I don't know, I made a video titled Palworld, or I don't actually know the title of the video, but the point is, it was basically what I did back then. I would take a clip of videos and then make a montage of them. Does that make sense? Yeah, that probably makes no sense yet. This does not do Palworld justice. Palworld is a game that many people have just called Pokemon with guns, and I mean, if you did call it that, you wouldn't be wrong. But the point is, my style of video at the time just didn't do Palworld justice for what type of game it was. And since Palworld's gotten a new update, I decided to make a more fully fledged video talking about Palworld, so let's begin. Palworld in a nutshell is basically a crafting survival creature collector game. How the main gameplay goes is you'll usually make a base, catch pals, not Pokemon. You really put Palzer, you're really extending your stuff, buddy. And then you basically have this really nice loop of collecting, crafting, and adventuring. When I first played Palworld, I was practically addicted to it. It was an amazing gameplay loop. I am someone who will pick up a game, play it for a little bit, get bored, and then we'll move on to the next one. But Palworld just had me hooked. If I didn't like what I was doing at the moment, or adventuring more accurately, I would then have to start crafting, which I would more enjoy. And if I didn't like that, then I would swap on to collecting, and so on and so forth. That's not how the triangle goes, but you get the idea. Until the end game, where I just didn't like Palworld anymore. Palworld had lost the balance of this thing. At some point, there were just so many items to collect, it became overwhelming. You needed to collect a ton of stuff to make basic materials that you needed. Like, to make gun ammo, you needed to go collect sulfur and coal, which would take up a ridiculous amount of time. The point is, there wasn't much automated. What is that term? Like industrializing? There wasn't an industrialized thing to collect resources, you just had to collect it manually, which is by far the killer of this game. Over time, me and my friend Red got very bored of Palworld due to the fact that it was just a constant collect-a-thon and then grind-a-thon instead of actually doing, fun stuff like catching Jetragon and stuff like that. You'll probably also notice that I'm not using much footage from before the new updates. And the reason is because my computer, or more accurately, the video files were taking up so much space on my computer that I had to delete them all. So we don't have the epic Jetragon catch clip, which I'll explain later. Now, the game has one key thing that makes it much more better to work for. For some resources that you don't need to collect, you can actually have pals at your base work on it. So let's say you want to do farming. You could just manually do farming, which would take up a lot, but you could use pals that you you can use pals that you don't have on your party to do that automation for you. This means that basically every pal that you have is meaningful to your team. Aside from that, the gameplay loop is pretty simple, and that's about it. That is the basics of Palworld. But then we get on to the update, which is what I really want to talk about in this video. So let's start off with talking about the issues that Palworld previously had before the update. The main issues with the following resources I am listing on screen right now, I'm probably listing them on screen, are just you have to manually get them. Coal is the biggest offender here. You can only go to the desert to get it, and even where there is not that much coal to grab, so you have to wait for it to respawn by sleeping. It's just a whole slog. And also, don't even get me started on iron farming. To get iron, before a few updates, you had to manually farm iron, which was just a big pain in the butt. A workaround to this is having bases in locations where it manually spawns, and having pals like Digstoice that can just manually break it down for you. But even then, there was a cooldown on respawn, so that really didn't solve anything. Another issue that the game suffered from was, production speed of the furnace. Some of the most valuable resources required PAL ingots, and to get these PAL ingots, you needed a furnace. Now, with a German-Tide Ignis, the fastest smelter in the game, and the best furnace at full electricity and full blast, it takes forever to actually get anything done. so me and my friend would have to wait a lot for things to smelt. Some other complaints that were had is that sometimes pals would just not work, and it was stupidly annoying. I don't have any clips of this because I'm playing on the newest version where they fixed that, but the point is, you could throw a pal at something indicating to it you want to work on that, and it would say, no immediate working area, gonna go onto roaming mode, which means it wouldn't work on it consistently. You can see the issue, right? One other issue that I had is that I never truly felt like I was max level, or more accurately how I put this is it never is, even at level 50, which was the highest level at the time, it never really felt like I was the most powerful. More accurately, there are weapon schematics that you could get around the area. If you look at your weapon, you'll probably notice that it reads common, unless you went to a certain boss area and picked up items from that. In a basic nutshell, it was a really big pain in the butt to actually get good weapons. You couldn't just craft it. No, that'd be too simple. You had to actually get like some high quality materials, and the point is that it was a lot of manual work at a time and point in the game where it was just not fun to do manual work. And then came the update. The update fixed quite a lot of things, such as, I think they improved the speed of furnace. I'm not actually sure about that's true, but in my opinion, the speed of the furnace, it's much more effective. So that's a nice change. They've also made a new type of potion. Good stuff. They also added sulfur and coal mines. I did not think this was possible. Basically, there are these things known as automated mines, where it will generate an infinite amount of stuff. Before the update, there was an update that added iron mines, so iron was less hard to get, but me and my friend were still struggling with coal, which was a huge pain in the butt, and then they finally added coal mines, so now we have a stable source of coal. This is the best day of my life. And now let's talk about the new stuff that was added into palworld. Tower bosses in a nutshell are basically like Pokemon gym battles, only there are a few of them, and you use guns against someone riding one of their pals. So yeah, you can ride pals, but don't ask questions on why you can't ride Orzhov, even though it shows this guy and Orzhov riding each other. Don't ask why that makes sense. Anywho, they've also added a new cherry blossom little biome island, I think. I'm not sure what to call it, alongside a new mushroom biome and a new resource. This new resource can be automated, but is by far very slow to obtain. This item is known as crude oil, which can be basically used to make a lot of the new stuff, such as pal steel, which can be used to make the new armor types, and also can be used to make flamethrowers. I don't have a flamethrower yet, but once I do, I'll inform you guys. Speaking of oil, they've also had the oil rig. This is the fastest way to get oil, but it comes at a caveat of it's stupidly hard to raid these places. Why, you might be asking? And fight the boss at...
Are you at the oil rig?
Yes.
Alright, I'm coming.
What the I don't know what to say here, but the point is that they really do punish you for just trying to cheese the game, which I kinda like. And also, it's a pain in the butt getting your stuff back, which I really don't like. If you die here, you might as well say, well, this is gonna be a pain in the butt to get my stuff back. So, if you take any advice from me, just use these crude oil extractors on these spots until you have some half-decent stuff, and then go over there to get your stuff, okay? Just don't do it. As for new pals, there's not many pals that I'm explicitly attached to. They added Chillette Ignis, which was easily me and my friend's favorite pal, Pope Chillette. We love you. And my friend got this new Growlithe looking thing. No, wait, that is just assuming Growlithe now that I think about it. Actually, if you want to play a little game with your friends, capture a pal and try to compare it to a Pokemon. I just also realized now that Tombat kind of looks like Husker from Hazbin Hotel. Just throwing that out there, actually. When was Hazbin Hotel created, and when was Tombat created? I'll put them up right here. Also, they've had some new bosses to the place, and these bosses I find kind of funny here. They've made the Scorpion have a Terraform, which basically means it's now a pure ground type. And they've also had this new guy, which I think is pretty neat. That's about all I have for this video, but I do have something else I'd like to point out here. My 1.20.1 video just got over 147 views, and I gotta say, that is not something I was expecting. I'm really grateful for this, and I would like to thank everyone who has bothered to watch that video. And yeah, that's about all I got for you. In the meantime, I am going to, I'm gonna end this video now. See ya!